Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we'll be looking at how to use OpenAI's Text-to-Speech API tool.
Okay, this first code snippet is intended to get you used to the basics of using this text-to-speech API tool from OpenAI. So, first we import our libraries. I'm assuming you know how to set up your Python coding environment by now, so I won't spend too long on this. All these libraries are the pathlib library. From pathlib, import path. This line imports the path class from the pathlib module. Path is used to work with file paths in a way that is both readable and compatible with different operating systems. Import OpenAI. This line imports the OpenAI module, which contains the necessary functions and classes to interact with OpenAI's APIs. Next, we set our API key. Within the quotations, you need to paste your actual API key. So to do that, you navigate over to OpenAI's API website, generate a new secret key, and paste it between the quotation marks here. Next, client equals OpenAI.OpenAI, and then brackets API key is equal to API key. This line creates an instance of the OpenAI class from the OpenAI module and initializes it with your API key. This instance, client, will be used for making requests to OpenAI's API. Speech file path is equal to path speech.mp3. This line creates a path object with the path speech.mp3. This indicates that the audio file generated by the text-to-speech API will be saved with the name speech.mp3 in the current working directory. So when you run the code, you'll have an mp3 file saved within the same folder that you're running this code from. Response is equal to client.audio.speech.create. This line is a bit long, so let's break it down. Response. This is a variable where the response from the OpenAI API will be stored. Client.audio.speech.create. This method, called create on client.audio.speech, sends a request to OpenAI's text-to-speech API to create speech from text. Inside the parentheses, the method is provided with the following arguments: the model, the voice, and the input. So like I said, you can choose the type of voice you want, and there's some examples on the OpenAI documentation. And this input here is the text that we're going to convert to speech with open speech file path WB as file. This line opens the file specified by speech file path in binary write mode. This context manager with ensures the file is properly closed after its suite finishes. File.write response.content. This line writes the content of the response, which should be the audio data, to the file. After this line is executed, the audio file speech.mp3 will be saved with the synthesized speech. Okay, so what if you want to convert a larger amount of text to speech? It's no good hard coding it into your code here because it'll make it look all messy. So what we can do, we can write into a .txt file with a larger amount of text, call that txt file into our code, run it through the text-to-speech model, and get our output. So let's say, for example, maybe you've written a YouTube script or you're converting part of an ebook to an audiobook. Then you can call in that file, put it through, and get your output, all without a recording studio. So the initial lines of code are the same. However, this is new. Text file path is equal to path script.txt. Here we specify where to find our .txt file. So I created a script.txt file, and in there I wrote a sizable amount of text on what I want the text-to-speech model to convert to speech. Next, down here, with open text file path R as file, this basically opens up my script.txt file in read mode. That's what R here specifies. And then we read the contents of that file and assign it to the variable text content. Again, like in the previous snippet of code, this specifies where the finished mp3 file will be saved. In this case, it will just be saved in the same working folder as this whole program. And again, this code is mostly the same. We specify the model and the voice we want, but instead of the input being hard-coded in, we have put the input equal to this variable, and this variable text content is equal to the contents of the file, and that file is script.txt. This is then passed through the text-to-speech API, and we get our output here.